beautiful book besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv if you're new here, and today we're going to be chatting about my first TBR of the new year. So my mind is literally quite blown about the fact that I'm sitting here filming my first TBR of 2025. What is life? I don't think I'm mentally prepared to jump into a brand new year yet, but here we are regardless. I do have a yearly reset vlog coming where I'm going to be talking more about my yearly goals and my reading journal, what I'm going to be using as my planner. So I do have another video planned where we're going to talk about bookish goals. You might be wondering how many books am I planning to read or what kind of content am I planning to film, but I am going to be talking about that in a later video. For this year, I knew I wanted to do something different with TBRs. TBRs are fun, but they do get kind of stale after a while when you're just like, okay, here's my stack of books and this is what I'm going to be reading. I really wanted to add some type of suspense to my TBRs, as well as a huge goal of mine this year is to read books from my shelf. So I did put together this cute little mushroom jar, which is actually a vase, and I had you guys put a ton of TBR prompts into this jar, and we're actually going to be picking out 5 every single month. Yes, I do have like some priority reads like book clubs, maybe like a huge anticipated release, so I have no idea what I'm going to start off this year reading, but it's just making me so excited because there's so many possibilities. The purpose in me doing this though is to read books from my bookshelf, because I recently did a massive unhaul. I unhauled probably close to 350 books this year. That's insane to say, but now I know that whatever prompt I pick, I hopefully will be able to fulfill that prompt just from my shelves. Or I also have my Kindle here that I will go through because I do have some arcs, but this is just going to motivate me in some way, shape, or form to actually read the books I own, and honestly I couldn't be more excited. I think this is the perfect and easiest way to also just have a good time but still have some type of suspense to what I'm going to read each month. All that to say, you guys have seen a TBR jar before, you've seen people do this, I've seen people do it, but of course I had to make mine extra cute. This is also something that is just really motivating me to film or get excited about filming again. Okay, before we go ahead and start pulling prompts, which I am itching to do, but I'm also very terrified, we do have a couple housekeeping things to do because the month of January I am going to be hosting 2 book clubs. The first one is for my Patreon over at the Tea Time Society, which if you don't know, I host a monthly book club where I pick 3 book club nominations and you guys get to vote on which one you want to read the most. I do a lot of new releases, I do a couple backlist titles. We do mainly mystery thrillers and fantasy with a sprinkle of romance here and there. For the month of January, we are going to be reading Adrienne Young's new book, A Sea of Unspoken Things, that comes out in just a few days, and I'm over the moon excited to finally get my hands on this. The cover is absolutely stunning. I do not know much about this book at all. I just know that a woman is investigating her brother's mysterious death, and I believe they're actually twins, so she knows right before he dies or right before she gets the phone call that he's gone. I know she returns to like her small hometown. It's very atmospheric. She has haunting ghosts of her own past, and in typical Adrienne Young fashion, I know this book is just gonna suck me in because her writing is absolutely phenomenal. I feel like this is just going to be a great pick for us to start off the new year. I know a lot of people are a fan of Adrienne Young, so if you want to join us, you definitely should. The next book club that I'm co-hosting for in the month of January, I am so excited, mainly because I needed a push to finally read Project Hail Mary. Andy Weir is an author that I'm very scared of, but also I loved the movie The Martian, so I've had this on my radar for quite some time, like ever since it came out. But you guys know I don't read a lot of sci-fi, so when my friend Elise, who hosts the Libronauts book club where they read all sci-fi, but she reached out to me, I was like, absolutely yes, I need every motivation I can to get into this book. I know close to nothing about this book. I just know it's about a lone astronaut in space, obviously, and other than that, I'm going in completely blind. I also have the audio queued up because I was hearing that it is a full cast of characters. There might be sound effects or something. I think it could really surprise me how much I enjoy this. So if you are interested interested in joining us, I will leave Elise and her channel in the description below, and I believe we are talking about this on January 29th. Okay, now we're gonna get into 2 anticipated releases that I know I'm really gonna love. I absolutely have to read these in the month of January. I think they come out around the middle or near the end of January, so hopefully I will still have time to squeeze them in. But the first one is Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. I love the When in Rome romance series. Sarah Adams has quickly become one of my favorite romance authors of all time, and this book I believe follows one of the sisters that you see throughout the series named Emily and also Jack Bennett. This is a rivals to lovers romance where they're both second grade teachers, and I think that is going to be absolutely adorable, especially if there's kids involved or there's like kid side characters. So I think this is going to be the perfect heartwarming story to start out my year. Sarah Adams can literally do nothing wrong in my eyes, and I know this is going to be absolutely amazing just like the rest of the series. And then we have Onyx Storm by none other than Rebecca Yarros. This book is very anticipated for a lot of us. Even though Fourth Wing is not like my favorite series of all time, I usually have a really fun time just following the characters and just enjoying the dragons. I mean, who doesn't love talking dragons? But if you all read Iron Flame, that cliffhanger was so insane. I don't think anybody saw it coming. I'm probably going to be starting it the day it arrives on my doorstep because Bookstagram is terrible with spoilers, but also that cliffhanger. Okay, now is the time to pick from our TBR jar, and I've never been more nervous but also excited because I know I own books that I really want to read, but we definitely need more books to join Project Hail Mary over here because he's looking kind of lonely. Let's go ahead and pick our first prompt of 2025. I really hope we start off with a good one. Book on your Goodreads timeline. So I forgot to mention that I did put a couple extra quick prompts in here because I did want to choose 5 every month. I feel like 4 probably would have been a better option, but regardless, I needed a few more, so I had some friends and myself add a couple prompts to this. So I did add this prompt, and I hope I don't regret it. What I meant by choose from your Goodreads timeline is I'm going to my homepage and I'm just gonna scroll and see what some of my other friends are reading, and if I own any of those books or any of them look intriguing, that is what I'm going to choose. I'm seeing Assistant to the Villain, which I've already read. The 3rd book I'm seeing on my timeline, I think I'm gonna have to go with this one, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And you guys are probably laughing along with me because this has been on so many TBRs in 2024. Like, I can't even imagine or count how many times I mentioned this book. So we are off to a great start. We are already knocking out some backlist books, and I believe the 3rd book comes out sometime this year. So this is actually perfect. And it's cold, it's wintry, it's cozy fantasy, it's about a professor that is studying fairies. And honestly, that just sounds perfect. Like, I'm 100% in the mood to pick this book up right now. Well, this just made me even more excited to continue with this TBR jar because we're already off to a very strong start. I probably should have mentioned that any of these slips that I choose from the jar I'm actually never going to reuse, so you guys will never see the same prompts again, and it also keeps things a little bit more interesting, less repetitive. Let's go ahead and choose number 2. Gosh, I really hope this is a good one because we're off to a good start and we need to keep it that way. It's a book your husband picks. So hold please while I go get him. Yeah, it's out of 60 prompts in here and this was the second one I chose. I can come up with some options for you. Okay, so I kind of made this hard on him. I gave him a lot of options. I gave him these books that I've gotten recently down here, my entire bookshelves, as well as some stacks that I have sitting on the floor, and from my special editions that I've gotten from like Fairy Loot and stuff. He chose, solely based on the title he told me, The Black Witch by Lori Forrest, which I was not expecting. Truly was not expecting. I thought he would pick some type of like sci-fi, but he said that the title sounded interesting. And this is an older series that I think this first one was published in 2017. Ellerin Gardner is the spitting image of her grandmother who drove back the enemy forces in the last Realm War. But while her people believe she will follow in her grandmother's footsteps and become the next Black Witch of Prophecy, Ellerin is devoid of power in a society that prizes magical ability above all else. When she's granted the opportunity to pursue her dream of becoming an apothecary, Eleanor joins her brothers at Verpax University. She soon realizes that the university may be the most treacherous place of all for the granddaughter of the Black Witch. So we have apothecary, academic vibes, witchy. Yeah, this I think is going to be a really fun pick. Not what I was expecting, but I'm also really excited for it. Alrighty, let's see what we have for prompt number 3. An indie author. Okay, I already have in my head what I think I'm gonna read for this. I think I'm going to choose Quicksilver. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, as soon as I saw one put this prompt on Instagram, I knew that I was gonna choose Quicksilver by Callie Hart because this book has blown up everywhere and I recently bought it for $3 on Kindle. Do not touch the sword, do not turn the key, do not open the gate. In the land of the unforgiving desert, there isn't much a girl wouldn't do for a glass of water. 24-year-old Saris is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange powers she possesses or the fact that she has been picking pockets and stealing from the Undying Queen's reservoirs. When Saris comes face to face with Death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to a land of ice and snow. I actually had no idea that this kind of was like wintry as well. I think I'm definitely gonna go with Quicksilver on this one. Plus, it was recently announced that I think it's gonna be a show or a movie or something on Netflix. This is just gonna put me ahead of the game when that finally comes out. Okay, we're doing good so far. We've got 3 kind of bigger fantasy, which is typical for me. I love reading fantasy anyways, so I don't have a problem with that. But let's see if maybe we can choose something that will fulfill a prompt for maybe a mystery thriller. I'm not feeling confident about this one. A graphic novel. Okay, I was not expecting that at all. But that is the beauty of this TBR jar. I'm gonna go and look at my graphic novels and see what I can come up with. I actually don't have many graphic novels that I have not read yet, so this was a pretty easy choice, but also I purchased this book last year and I've been really itching to get to it. That is The Night Librarian by Christopher Lincoln. The New York Public Library has always been their favorite place, but lately things have gotten weird. Things like a dragon imprint on the ceiling and a giant beanstalk. It turns out the books are bursting with magic, and suddenly all sorts of villains are escaping from their books and threatening to destroy the whole library. Now it's up to Paige and Turner, as well as a mysterious night librarian and a motley crew of escaped storybook characters to save this beloved library from destruction before it's too late. The artwork in this I already love. I love the blues and the greens. This is gonna be perfect to go with like the rest of my fantasy theme that we're going for here. I also love how a lot of these books are looking like black or blue, so we definitely have an extra color theme going on as well. The last pick, let's also make it a good one. Please be a good one. Please be a good one. Book from a series you haven't finished, and I know exactly the choice I'm gonna pick for this. I am going to choose none other than Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas because I recently got back into Throne of Glass near the end of the year. I recently just finished Assassin's Blade and I have been chomping at the bit to finally kind of get back into the progression of the Throne of Glass story. I feel like there's a lot of other series I probably could have chosen for this prompt, but I have told all of my friends that I will finally finish this series in 2025. So this honestly fits perfect for the prompt and no complaints here. Well, here we are. We have our first TBR of 2025. We definitely have our TBR stacked because we have Rebecca Yarros, Sarah Adams, Adrienne Young. We have so many great books coming out in the month of January, and this is definitely going to keep me busy. It's mostly fantasy, which I'm not complaining here. This was not an expected TBR, but I honestly could not be happier. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I already cannot wait to see what we choose for the month of February. I know that these books are definitely going to set off my year on a great start, and I already cannot wait to start most of these. Before you leave this video, go ahead and let me know in the comments what book you are going to read as your first read of the year or what you've already read as your first for the year. I think it's so interesting to see what people choose to set off their year on a good start, and I think I'm definitely gonna pick Air of Fire as my first read because you cannot go wrong with some Sarah J Maas. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.